It's all on in Thailand at the moment, and if you're planning a quick holiday to Thailand, you might want to put that on hold. Our embassy there has closed today. Foreign Affairs advise only go if it's essential travel. That's, of course, because of the mayhem at the moment in Bangkok, a city in crisis, as the anti-government protesters take over the streets. Already around 30 people have been killed in these violent clashes. Last night, a rebel army general, he was shot, critically wounded. And on the front line is a Kiwi called Marco Cunningham. He's a volunteer ambulance officer helping the wounded and dying. And Robin Janes went to Bangkok to meet him.
So many accidents every single day.
Russia, central Bangkok.
They're very reluctant to give way to a rescue vehicle. They even cut in front of you here.
Yeah, well, this guy's trying to get past us.
We've even had people come out and attack the ambulance.
After 10 years on the job, it seems nothing phases Kiwi Marco Cunningham.
I had my ambulance shot. Got a bullet hole in my old ambulance, which I sold now, and I've had a gun pointed at me by a drunken policeman.
With Bangkok in a state of emergency, the volunteer crew he normally works with is out of action. The Red Cross is coordinating these rescues.
No one.
This woman is one of the protesters.
She's a red shirt. She was attacked by a yellow shirt.
For nearly 2 months, this has been Marco's life, responding to whatever the protests throw at him. The night before we filmed, 3 people were killed in bombings here.
Oh, it was really like a war zone. Yeah, there was police and army everywhere.
He was there 2 weeks ago picking up the pieces as well, when 25 were killed in riots.
When you're doing your job, you don't really think too much about it. Yeah, it's in the back of your mind, of course, all this gunfire, but you know, you're concentrating on the guy who's been injured on the floor. And
tonight, there's a relative state of calm.
This is the front line right here, and this is where the bombs went off just over the other side. You can see they're very, very organised in everything they do. They've got their own ranks of people, and they've got their own army.
We've come to the Red Shirts' fortified base. It may look rudimentary, but the tyres are supposedly soaked in petrol.
You can't see the guns that are hidden, but there's guns around and bombs and all kinds of stuff.
The anti-government protesters have paralysed central Bangkok. They're well organised, bankrolled by the ousted Prime Minister. With plenty of food and water, they're not going anywhere willingly.
You can see by the intricate barricades they've made up there, they're here to stay.
On the other side of the road, the police, army and government supporters.
Yeah, up here, hidden behind these black screens, are all the army with guns, apparently with live ammunition. And they've all got live ammunition.
McDonald's bears the riot scars. It's closed now, like many businesses.
I guess it's going to have to come to a head sometime.
It's a waiting game that Marco and his team are getting sick of playing. Normally, life as a volunteer with Ruam Katanyu Foundation is non-stop action.
Saving someone's life is obviously the ultimate thing you can do.
In Bangkok, the ambulance service is provided by 2 volunteer foundations. They're known as the Body Snatchers, as they also handle all the dead bodies.
It's my life. It's not just a hobby or not even a job. It's my life.
Marco came to Thailand for a holiday 10 years ago.
Okay, 2.
He got a job teaching English and then started volunteering. He even had his own ambulance for a while.
I spend all my money on it, you know, and a bit of my family's money too back in New Zealand.
Marco was one of the first English-speaking rescuers to arrive at the Boxing Day tsunami.
We came down here as a rescue team, but what we're doing is bagging bodies, you know.
He dealt with unimaginable horror.
Yeah, some days I didn't cope. You know, some days I would get angry or get sad, or one day I went and sat in the corner of the temple and just put my head between my knees and just sat there thinking, I wish I wasn't here.
He's written a book about his experiences as a form of therapy.
And how often do you think about the tsunami?
Not so much anymore, because I'm always busy. I think if I hadn't been busy, I would have thought a lot more about it and possibly got a lot more depressed about the whole thing.
And life is busy.
It's a motorcycle accident and the guy apparently is unconscious.
There are some pretty hairy moments. Some groups get money from hospitals for the injured. They can get angry when volunteers like Marco turn up.
And so they shot a hole in the back of the ambulance. So, but it happens all the time, almost weekly.
Tonight he'll be back on the front line.
It's pretty safe-ish.
The ambulances are Marco's life. His goal now to set up a charity so he can buy a proper, fully equipped ambulance of his own.
People always wonder what they want to do with their life, and even sometimes wonder why you're here. And for me, this is it. You know, I really think I'm doing something really good with my life, and you know, that feeling, people yearn for that kind of satisfaction of doing something good with their life. I've got it in massive amounts.